I'm Travis Murray with the Pinball Company, and yes, it is finally happening. We are doing a glass-off tutorial. Now, first and foremost, I'd like to thank my podcast partner, Jack Engelbert, who is essentially the Keith Elwin of glass-off play. He's done very well. He's won many fake world championships, and if you know that deep cut that I'm referring to, then awesome. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, don't even worry about it. But what I'm essentially doing with this video, I've had a lot of people ask me this over the past couple of years because I've done a lot of launch party videos. I've gotten questions about updated strategies to the various games. For this particular video, I am going to go over tournament strategies, specifically the ones that I use. And we're going to do this in a very controlled manner. So be sure and just check out the timestamps down below. That way you can go to anything that you happen to want to check out, or if you want to see something a little bit later in the video. For Mandalorian, it's very important to understand how we piece together our general openers. The main thing to understand about this game, of course, up the middle is multi-ball. Everybody that's played this understands that, and it does play a big part of this. You could tell which multi-ball you're on according to what insert is lit at Razor Crest, which is right in the middle of the playfield. And the way that you change which multi-ball is currently lit, you would just simply hit the Boba Fett targets on the far right, and that would change that. And also the Boba Fett targets act as a multiplier as well, and we'll go over that in just a few. For Razor Crest, we want to make sure that, at least for me personally, I like to stick to number 1 or number 2. Number 1 happens to be I Spider, which essentially is hit so many lit shots out there, and then you have a 20-second super jackpot phase that's located at the U-turn. That comes in very handy. The next one is, I believe it's called Jetpack, which is the number 2. Now, I really like this one just because you can keep building it up till you get to a super jackpot value worth, I think it maxes out at 50 million, but you can keep building it, and then you collect that super jackpot after you get out of the multi-ball. So that's how those two work. But what I really want to show you is just how these multipliers work. Now, if you want to get, the idea is you want all 3 of these multipliers, which is essentially is a 6x playfield for you. And then along with that, if you look on the LCD screen, you'll notice that flamethrower is our first option that we have on the far left. Now what this means is, and I see a lot of players mess this up, me included from time to time, you want to hold down your action button until all the shots have a flame that goes across it. You want to light up all your shots. That is very, very important. There are times that if you just hit the button, it's only going to go on like 2 or 3 shots at most. Now this flamethrower, what that does is that will 2x the value of that shot. So you see how this is working? You can put that on top of the multipliers that are the Playfield multipliers as well. So that's really what we're looking for, and essentially that gets us to a situation that we call the fire triangle. What a fire triangle is, we just have all 3 multipliers and the flamethrower on top of it, and then the party starts. That's really where this all comes in handy. Now, it's important, like we talked about just a second ago, to know how these multipliers work. If you use your Boba Fett targets on the far right, even on the playfield it says Boba Fett lights playfield multiplier. So you just hit these targets twice, and you'll see 60 seconds is the playfield multiplier, and we've already got it noted on the playfield itself. Now if I hit these again, I can keep going all the way up to 80 seconds, just like you saw. And of course, if I end up hitting anything else and that timer starts coming down, all I have to do to reset it is just hit that again. It's very great. So scope is the very next one, and scope has to do with the blue triangle. Now scope you can find at the U-turn shot, the small left-hand stand-up target, and the right ramp. And that's noted on the playfield with the 3 blue arrows. Now the easiest way you can light these is you simply just have to hit each shot. Now what you see right here is just ambush. That starts because I hit the U-turn shot, but you can let that time out as you're seeing right now. But you'll notice immediately that insert is lit. Now the next step is I can either hit this or I can hit the right ramp. When I say this, I mean the stand-up target. So it doesn't even matter what order you go in. So I'll go ahead and this is just like I hit the right ramp. You'll see that comes up. And then you'll notice this is the final one. I hit that target, that shows up, all right? Another thing to understand while we're doing this, while we're here, and this is very important, when it comes to missions, this small stand-up target is what changes the missions. As you could tell, you can see it rotating around. That's what changes it. If you've ever wondered, there you go. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just let this drain real quick, and I'll show you the Hunter one. So we've gone over Boba Fett and we've gone over Scope. Now for Hunter, all you're gonna do, there's 3 stand-up targets to the left. You'll simply hit them in any order, and you'll notice that lights are in lanes. So left in lane's lit. I can switch it over, I can toggle it using my flipper buttons to go from right to left. Now, as soon as you go over whatever lit in lane there is, that's where you see this come up. You see an orange insert light. I have to hit the orbit. That's what I need to hit. Now I can hit this right ramp, and that just increases. Best car, it might increase score, you know, because, well, you get best car because you complete it, and best cars leads to the foundry. But ultimately, I want to hit the left orbit, and this is timed. If you look on the upper right-hand side of the LCD, you'll notice there's a timer there. So if I hit the insert on the orbit, that will light the opposite orbit, which now we're on the right-hand side. I have to still hit that shot in order to light my Playfield multiplier. So we'll do that right now. And you will notice right off the bat, the Playfield multiplier is now lit and is now running. So that's how we really get the party all started. And you could essentially just keep doing this. Even while you're in a mode, these things can still happen. There might be some exceptions in the game, but generally you're okay. So right here, Scope, I did explain how you get it lit earlier. What I didn't explain, I just remember this, I didn't show you how to actually, you know, start it or how to get it. So going back to that, we hit the U-turn, we hit the stand-up target, we hit the right ramp to light those 3. Now you notice Scope is lit in the left in lane. And so what I have to do is just simply go over that, and that will give me 3 options to hit right after I go through this lit in lane. And you'll notice on the LCD, it says I can hit the U-turn, the target, or the ramp for points. So the right ramp for points, the target for best car, and the U-turn for Whistling Bird and one other thing, which happens to be just associated with the game with the armor, and you can basically you can finish missions a lot quicker, but we're not worried about that. All we care about is just these Playfield multipliers. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this again just real quick so you can see this Playfield multiplier in play right here. We're gonna time this out. So we're gonna see Scope will be lit again. We go over Scope, and we'll act like we hit one of these shots. And now you notice we got the Playfield multiplier going. So there we go. So now you know all 3 Playfield multipliers. That makes a whole lot of sense. All right, so we're gonna restart the game. And again, we're playing competition, but as long as you understand how those Playfield multipliers work, we're good to go. All right, now the other parts of this that are interesting. Your first 2 missions, you can use the scoop in order to spot the left and the right ramp. Now, in order to light missions, you do have to hit right or left ramp on your 3rd, 4th, and 5th mission. Now, for your 1st and 2nd one, you could still hit the ramps and still use that for progression to qualify your missions at this scoop, but again, just use the scoop. You do that, it's very simple. So I'm gonna show you how this works. There's one, you notice this mission is lit right here, or this insert on the right ramp is lit. It's because I was spotted via the scoop. So go in again, you'll notice we spot it here, so now we're relit. Now we don't want to be number 1. The main one that I want is number 4, so of course you're going to use this stand-up target to move it to number 4. And you can do that in any way that you want, but another thing that really helps, we've gone over the Playfield multipliers, we've gone over how the flamethrower works, but you'll notice those 2 stand-up targets on the right ramp, there's a 2x and another 2x. Ultimately, you can make your ramp worth 4x, and this is why Mudhorn is so important to have in, because there's a couple of major shots in this mode that will happen that is at that right ramp, and I'm gonna show you why that's important here in just a few. So we're gonna start Mudhorn, and we got 4 main shots out in the playfield, but what I'm really focused on is that right ramp. Now, ideally, when you play this mission, you want that right ramp lit with your multipliers. So right now, that right ramp is worth 4x. Now, I can make that even worth more by adding on another X. So I have another Playfield multiplier going, and you're gonna see if I hit that right ramp, it's gonna be worth decent points now. So 20 million right there, just because I have my 4X and I have my other Playfield multiplier going right there, and that makes it worth 5X total, I believe, or somewhere right around there. Might even be getting my math off a little bit. But anyways, that's worth a good amount. So imagine if I would have had flamethrower on there and my other two. Would have been worth a lot. So we'll go ahead and go drain out of that. So now you understand how Mudhorn works. And this is where we're gonna start piecing this puzzle together for you so you fully understand what this strategy is. So let's go ahead and restart. And again, we're going to be on competition. All right, so the full strategy that you're looking for, the ideal stack, and you can work this any way you want. Usually what I like to do is I like to use my ball save to spam the stand-up target, just because obviously it's going to be a dangerous shot, and I want to get my mission from 1 to 4. That's ideal. Another thing you could do if you don't want to quite get there all the way, you could start aiming after the Boba Fett targets until you have your Razor Crest set to 1. You could do that also. And then on top of that, while you're doing that, let's just pretend we did that. So now we're working the middle. And of course, this is a middle-heavy game. And we're doing that because we want to get to our first multi-ball. Now it's going to take, I believe it's 4 shots total that we got to do. And you're going to notice up on the LCD, got 1 more to go. So here's my 3rd shot. There we go. Now we have Razor Crest multi-ball lit. Now, of course, I could start it on here. I don't necessarily want to. I really want to get this over to the 1. So we're going to pretend that I just played excellent and I got it over there. The next step, of course, is I really want Mudhorn to be lit. I'm going to pretend I played excellent and I've got it exactly where I want. Now, all things considered, I could still make progress everywhere else. Now, if you really want to get your Playfield multipliers going, we're just going to pretend that we do have fire triangle ready to go. We're going to get to that point. There I go. I nearly messed it up because why not? All right, so let's go ahead and get this. And when I say this, I'm meaning the Hunter Playfield multiplier. So we got to hit our orbits. Now we have that lit. All right, now what I really want to do is I want to get scope, because now we're going to get the whole party involved. That is the goal. So we got ambush running. We're going to let that run out. Time out. So now we got scope lit. Again, left in lane. That's what triggers here. Now we collected our scope, plus some points right there. So that's where you see the 3 million points come up on the LCD, and you'll notice immediately we have our 6X running. Now, we do have Foundry lit because we collected enough Beskar. What I always do, personally, is that if I've already used my flamethrower, I like to get flamethrower again, use it again, or you can use heal, which is an outlane ball save. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Some people like using whistling birds. Me personally, I am going to go to pass for now, because we're just going to act like we're not to that point. But since we hit the scoop, you'll notice, spotted me a ramp, hit the scoop again, it's going to spot me another ramp. Now, I got everything lit. This is exactly where you want to be at this point. Fire triangle possible, multi-ball lit on our first one, right? So the Ice Spider, and mission 4, which is Mudhorn. All this is the party getting started. So the last piece to this puzzle is on our right ramp with the 2X and 2X, like the 2X left stand-up target and the 2X right stand-up target. And you're gonna see why this is so important right now. So let's pretend I have this lit. I have everything go. I'm gonna hold down the action button. There it goes. Right? I held it all the way down till it went all the way across. Here's why this is big. 120 million right there, just for that right ramp, because essentially I was at a 48X playfield at that point because it all just stacked up together. I had my 6 times my flamethrower, which is another 2, which takes me to 12, times 2, which is 24, times 2 again, which is 48. I believe that's how it works. If my math is off, sue me, either way, it's worth 120 million. So the next part to this is, of course, you could have just started your multi-ball during that, and through all the chaos that was going on, that's essentially what you could have got right there, the award on that right ramp. Now let's pretend that you already started this in Mudhorn, and we'll just act like that our 6X is still going, even though it's not there anymore. So when you get to this point, when you get to a multi-ball like this, of course you're spraying around, you're just trying to jam out shots because you're using your ball save. But the main thing to understand about this is try to hit as many shots as possible, of course. Just try to just knock out wherever they're at, because your goal when you're at this point is to essentially get to a point in this multi-ball to where your super jackpot is lit for 20 seconds at the U-turn shot. So that's really what we're looking for right now. So we're going to keep hitting some shots. Let's figure out where we're at here. And in the middle of all this, we still have Mudhorn going. If you look on the LCD, it still has a couple seconds left, but it's about to time out. All right, so Mudhorn's gone. So there's our mission total. All right, now we do have to get one more shot. I tried to take my shot because this is such a steep ramp. All right, here we go. So we hit all the shots. Now I have 20 seconds for unlimited super jackpots on that U-turn. That's kind of where we're at right now, or we're getting closer to it after I hit that final shot, and there we are. So now it's going to start going. And you'll see the timer show up on the LCD. It's down to 17 seconds right now. And of course, you know, obviously, you could still get your Playfield multiplier at any time. Boba Fett's the easiest one to check in on since it's just 2 targets. Hunter, a little bit tougher to do, but at that point, if you see, it's not going to come back up just now. So obviously, if you get it going, you got to take advantage of it. So that's what the super jackpot looks like. And then you just keep spamming it over and over again, and then more shots come out after that super jackpot timer phases out. So that's legitimately it. Like right there, if you do this right and you're able to add on some multipliers to it, you could come out of this whole thing with, I've had scores anywhere between 300 to 800 million. And I've seen other players get up to over 1 billion points just simply doing those things and just keeping the ball alive, hitting the super jackpot over and over again. Because if you keep going through those super jackpot phases on iSpider, they get pretty big. They get pretty good size. So mid-game at this point, or you might even be at the end game at this point, because that's really the 2 things that you want to put together. Now, for me, if Foundry's lit, then simply what I like to do is I like to use it for more flamethrower. And I like to hold on to that, especially if I'm on ball 1. I will hold on to that for as long as I can. So we will go over to flamethrower. We'll take it. And that's why our selection comes out right there. And now we can do the same thing. You notice right here, spot it and spot it. So your first 2 missions, you can always do that. Very simple, no big deal. And then of course your middle, you're going to be at the Razor Crest hurry up phase. Now me personally, I sometimes, like this can still be worth a good amount. If you have this at 6X, sometimes even 12X, it's not going to be small points from time to time. So as you can tell, it keeps building up. I would just keep working middle to hurry up. All right, we're out of it. So when you're out of it, now the middle is lit again for another multi-ball. And it's just gonna be 5 shots. That's all we're at. And what I'm gonna show you is how Jetpack works. So this is typically exactly how I like to play. And when I have that lit, especially if I'm on ball 1 or ball 2, I will go ahead and take the mission first, so that way I can stack it up. Now, essentially you could play whichever you want, 1, 2, 3, or 5. I know some people have their favorites. Me, I just kind of take at this point what the game gives me, because I'm gonna have to take a lot of dangerous shots to get other things set up. All right, so now we're at a mission started, but I'm gonna go ahead and start my Jetpack Multiball. So in Jetpack, all you wanna do is have the glass off and grab the balls. That's all you wanna do. But here's how this works. Right now, my super jackpot, the base value of it is 10 million points. But I can start hitting these various shots to start increasing it. So if you notice, we have a shot here, or when I say here, left ramp, we have center ramp shot, and we have right ramp shot. So if I hit the right ramp, it's not worth much points at all. Minimal at best, 500,000, but the super jackpot grows. And you're gonna see that just by me hitting that shot, it grew by 1.25 million. Doesn't seem like much yet, but you gradually can start working your way to building it, and building it. So if you hit the middle shot, it's worth 500,000, it's called a fly award, and you'll see our super jackpot is getting up to 12.5. Now, the left hand or the left ramp shot is really our money shot, because that takes the ball up to the mini playfield. And when we're up here, now if we complete everything up there, we get an add-a-ball. Plus, we have grown our super jackpot. So there's the add-a-ball. And I did that simply by completing everything up there. Now you see the super jackpot's gone to 18.75. What I personally like to do right now is I like to just get my axe out and I will just chop wood. Meaning if I can stay trapped up right here, I will just simply keep feeding the left ramp and I will keep trying to build it up, bump over, and catch. That's all I'd be doing. Hit the left ramp, just repeat the same thing over and over and over again. Because you're gonna get 500,000 and your super jackpot grows. You're gonna see, like right now, I should be nearing 25 million on my super jackpot at this point. So we're just gonna keep building, keep building. Yep, we're at 32.5. So essentially, that's all you're gonna do. Now, we can just say, okay, super jackpot's maxed out where we got it. We'll let everything drain. We still have one ball left. Now this is when your super jackpot lights, and this is where you have 15 seconds to hit the shot. Now, you can still flail around if you want to, and get a Playfield multiplier going during that time, and then cash it in. You could easily do that. So it can be worth decent points just by doing it like this. I've seen upwards of over 100 million for that super jackpot collect. But of course, obviously, if you have 6x running, or you have 2x, 4x, like however much, it can be worth a pretty good amount. And I've seen upwards of 300 million on those collects right there. So that's another way you could do it. But outside of that, that's exactly the stacks that I like to use whenever I play this game. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. I know that there's a lot more to this game that we didn't necessarily go over. However, a lot of it I don't necessarily use unless I absolutely have to pull the string on my parachute and just try to save myself. I do that a lot with encounters, so you could do something like that by just spamming the left ramp over and over again, and then just keep trying to collect your encounters at the mini playfield. Another way you could do it, I've seen some players play through ambush to where they build up the value so high and then their collect is pretty good. However, that is a lot of wood chopping, and the things that I showed you today is pretty much just your classic opener to Mandalorian that can lead to a lot of points quickly. So to go over it real quick again, the main things that you want are Razor Crest 1, Mission 4, and then you want to try to get as many multipliers pulled into that as possible. And I fully encourage you to at least challenge yourself, especially if you have a home game on location. Try to keep working the stack and try to add in a multiplier here and there. You'll surprise yourself where your points will go and where your skill level will go once you start seeing the game this way and once you start thinking of it this way. Outside of that, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will catch you guys on the next one.